Good morning. Good morning and welcome to Immigration Fridays with Tulia. My name is Rumbidzai Bvunzawabaya, and today I am actually live, not pre-recorded. So I'm going to be answering questions today and just answering a particular question that we've had. But firstly, perhaps just to introduce our organization. We are Tulia. You can find us on www.tulia.org.uk, and we are based in the United Kingdom, in Coventry. Good morning. I see that I do have some people who've joined. Good morning and welcome to this broadcast this morning. I hope you're all well and you're good. Good morning. Before I talk about today's topic, I just want to talk about something that's happening this weekend, tomorrow, on Zoom. So not live, but on Zoom. So we've been talking quite a bit about the carer visa and welcoming people who have come to the UK from all over the world. And there's been a lot of questions, a lot of talk, anxieties, celebration, family joining each other, but also quite a few challenges from people. So an organization that's called African Youth Arise, which is run by a lovely lady called Rumbidzai Bvunzawabaya, is having an international healthcare worker integration conference. So it's the International Healthcare Worker Integration Conference. And this is going to be tomorrow on Zoom. And I've shared it on my page before. I'm going to be one of the speakers. I'm going to be speaking, and there's a wonderful panel of speakers. So one of them is Gamu, who is one of the panelists. Gamu Nyasoro, and she is an expert in union-related matters. She's the Vice Secretary Equity, Black Members Officer, and Health and Safety Rep for Unison. And she is going to be giving advice and talking about representation and how skilled workers, carers, nurses can join unions and what the union can do for them. So she's one of the speakers. There's Tafinya Wanza, who is a lawyer. He's also going to be speaking. And I'm trying to get all the speakers because there's quite a really good group of people who are going to be dealing with different issues. So if you know any healthcare workers, if you know, if you're a relative, if you're even an employer, this is for everyone. So I'm going to be one of the speakers as well. And we're going to have breakout rooms and panels where they'll be addressing different topics about managing mental health, personal finance, leadership and career development, human resources. So we've got an HR consultant, Moira Sivanda. We've got Rufaro Mandipira, who's an international recruitment specialist, and other speakers, quite a lot of people. So International Healthcare Worker Integration Conference. Tomorrow from 10 a.m. until 2 p.m. So there'll be panel discussions and there'll be a lot of information. Please join. Please share the information and invite somebody if you know someone. If you're interested in it and you want more information, please just check on my page. But also, if you just type interested in the chat, then I'll be able to get you that information to you. So welcome to Immigration Friday. Today, I'm going to be just responding to one question that's been addressed. If you've got other questions or any other issues that you want me to answer today, please put them into the chat and we will answer them. So thank you, Renika. I'll send you more information about the conference. Anyone who's interested about the conference tomorrow, send an interested link and we'll just comment interested and we'll send you the information. So it's not for recruiting, it's for integration. But even if you are somebody who's a prospective, somebody who wants to come to the UK, join in, and you know, it's interesting because you will learn more, you will hear more, you'll meet other people, and you never know. It's also for networking. You can probably make contacts with other people who are there. I know there's a WhatsApp group as well where there's information that's shared. So definitely join in tomorrow on Zoom, accessible for anyone. You do have to register for this online webinar, and the registration details are on the QR code, which is on the flyer, or I will share the Eventbrite link later. So good morning to anyone who is joining us. My name is Bvunzawabaya, and I'm from the Tulia Group. We are a community interest company that provides advice and assistance for migrants living in the United Kingdom, and also migrants who are aspiring to come to the United Kingdom and their families. So we provide holistic support, we provide advice, representation in legal matters, but we also help families, and we support people through crisis, through difficulties in integrating, which are a lot of, you know, different challenges. But today I'm just on here for a few minutes just to, which is how can I apply to live in the UK with my children? So this question we've received from a gentleman in Zambia, and his children are British citizens and they live with their mother in the UK, and their father lives in Zambia but would want to have a better relationship with his children. So I assume from this question, I mean, I've spoken to this gentleman and he doesn't have, he's a Zambian citizen. He doesn't have any leave to remain to enter the UK, but he had children with an ex-partner, and the children are living in England with their mother. The children are aged 3 and 8, and he would like to also come and live here, or be able to have a better relationship with his children, to see them, to get to know them, etc., etc. So that is the question that I'm answering today. And I know that there is there's a lot of people who live in different countries. We live in a global village. So there's people who live in all different countries and have children across regions. And so this question is relating to this dad. He works there in Zambia, but he would rather come and be with his children. And I think we know the importance of contact, of children having a relationship with both parents. It's important. So there is a visa for parents who are wanting to have contact with their children, who are wanting to spend more time with their children, who are wanting to have a relationship with their children. And it's a visa that perhaps is not used often. And most it's spouse visas and other visas like that. But this visa is a visa for a absent parent who wants to apply for a family visa so that they can have contact with their child in the UK. So how to apply for a visa as the parent of a child. That is what I'm answering today. So there is under Appendix FM. So Appendix FM is an appendix to the immigration rules, and this covers the different ways that you can apply for visas and the different categories that you have. So for this one, where you're a parent of a child who is British, you have to meet the relationship requirement with the child. So you have to show that this child is your child, either with a birth certificate or with a DNA test if you haven't got evidence of that. The other requirement of this visa is that you should not be in a relationship with the child's other parent or carer. So it's not for, so as a spouse or a partner, you can also come to the UK, but you do need to meet the income requirement that you earn 18,600 a year as a minimum. So some people will try and circumvent or go around the rules and use the children as a way to enter. But this particular route, one of the requirements is that you are not in a relationship with the other child's other parent, right? And then you have to also, number 3 is provide evidence that you are taking and intend to continue to take an active role in the child's upbringing. So you have to show that you have to provide evidence that you're currently taking and that you intend to continue to take an active role in the child's upbringing. And the parent must be outside of the UK, over 18 years of age, and able to adequately maintain and accommodate themselves and any dependents on arrival, and be able to speak English to an acceptable level, which is A1. And then the child themselves must be living in the UK under the age of 18, either a British citizen or have a settled status in the UK. So it seems pretty simple and straightforward, but I think the most tricky issue in these applications is usually the relationship requirements. The relationship requirement. So what they want us to show is that there's a connection. So the relationship that you are the parent, number 1, that there's a biological, because you wouldn't apply for a child that's not yours. But then there's also the connection between the applicant parent and the child, and also the relationship between the parent applying for the visa and the child's other parent. Those 2 requirements sometimes can go into a problem. But you need to show that you are in touch with the child, you are communicating, you know the child, and you have that relationship and you need to continue. So sometimes it can be a relationship where the child is living in the UK, and we've had a situation recently where a child was taken into care. When children go into care, and they're looked after by the government, and then they look for other parents. So we've been able to apply for a visa for the parent who wasn't here. So there's a British child who's living in the UK, who's being cared for by social services, and the other parent is in prison, so they are no longer able to look after. So the absent parent was able to apply for a visa to be able to come to the UK so that they can look after the child, because they have now they have that sole responsibility as a parent. So that's another type of scenario. But for this father who's written this question, they need to show that they've got access to that child. So they've got access to that child as well. So how are they going to have access to that child? And when relationships break up, sometimes children become a pawn in that in the breakup, and access is denied to some parents. So sometimes it's difficult to then show that you actually have access to that child. But in circumstances like that, it's then advisable to make an application through court for the child's living arrangement, so that you as a parent can show that you have been given access. So some people don't like court proceedings, and I've heard people commenting to say, why did they take me to court? So the function of courts in resolving disputes, it's an arbitrator. We have kangaroo courts, we have community courts in Zimbabwe, where I come from. We have community courts, chiefs. A person who mediates is always a good thing, because as human beings sometimes we fail to understand, we fail to come to an agreement. So even in relation to to children, parents can fail to come to an agreement, because one parent is saying, you broke my heart, you hurt me, you abandoned this child, and now you think you have a right to come into this child's life. One parent is saying, that was between us, not between me and the child. So then there becomes, each person thinks, in their position they're correct, and nobody's moving towards the middle. So in situations like that, it's good to get somebody else who is outside of the situation to then be able to help. So if you're unable to have access to the child, even if you Zimbabwe or living in Zambia, like this father, you can actually, no one stops you from making an application that will enable you to be able to see the child. So that is one way of showing the access, but it's important to be able to have, to have that knowledge and the ability to be able to do it, including paying for the costs and things like that. This visa that I'm talking about today, which is for a parent of a child, it's the costs. Talking about costs, I think that's also important. It's made by filling out an online application form. The fee is approximately 1,523, and there's also the immigration health surcharge, which is on top of that, which is so it's quite a lot of money in terms of making the application, which can be another barrier. And then to also show that you have the means to support yourself. So it is an option, but it's an expensive option for some people. But it gives you 2.5 years initially, and then you have to extend the leave to remain again and get another 2.5 years. After 5 years, you then for settlement. One other interesting thing about this particular route is, what is the definition of a parent? So, everything with regard to the immigration rules, they do set out definitions. So, according to the definition, which is set out in paragraph 6 of the immigration rules, it's simpler. This route allows, it's not just natural parents, birth parents. It's not just natural birth parents. It includes at A, the stepfather of a child whose father is dead. And so it can be a stepfather, stepmother of a child whose mother is dead, the father as well as the mother of a child who was born out of wedlock. It says here a legitimate child where he is proved to be the father, and adoptive parent where the child was adopted. So that's important to note, the other types of parents who are involved according to the definitions in the rule. So that is a very quick summary and a quick answer to the question that the gentleman from Zambia asked in relation to whether he can apply. Yes, he can, as a parent of a child, if shows that he's got a relationship with the child, if he can show that he is can support himself, if he has the means to pay, and he can show that he has a relationship with the child, then he is able to make that application for the child. Right, so to where I am now, does anyone have any questions that they want to ask, or any questions in the chat, any questions at all relating to this type of visa, or indeed to the integration conference that I mentioned, which is going to be tomorrow? To those who are joining in, tomorrow there is an integration conference on Zoom. I've shared the link on my page, Rumbidzai Bvunzawabaya page, not on the Tulia page, but I will share it in the chat so that you can register and sign in. We've collaborated, and I'm one of the speakers at this conference. I think there's about 8 speakers 4 workshops in the morning, 4 workshops in the afternoon, covering everything around healthcare recruitment. But in relation to parents of a child, if anyone's got any questions, do let me know and we can answer those. I've had a question on my WhatsApp, which is, what types of evidence do you need for direct access? So when you say access to a child, when a parent is applying for a visa, when they're out of the UK, their child is, how do you show access? So I mentioned before that you can get a court order, but the courts don't really have to always be involved to meet this requirement. It's possible for parents to make contact arrangements between themselves, but it has to be documented. So parents can make these arrangements themselves, but it has to be documented. So the type of evidence that's there is maybe evidence, an email, or other type of message from one parent to the other, confirming that dates or where the access will take place, location, duration, etc. So that's, messages, that's evidence. It could be a formal document like a letter, and arrangements that are very clear. So if it's an access arrangement that you have worked together, and it's called contact now, but that is the type of evidence that they would like to show that it actually happens and that you are actually involved with the child. But if it fails for you to agree, then a court order is what you would then need to show. Yeah, I've got another question in my WhatsApp from somebody who's texted. Oh, they're typing. I can see a question says, I've got a question. They're typing, so that's good. So yeah, so the type of evidence that you need is evidence of existing contact, or court order, or an agreement between you. So where there's a good relationship between the parents, you can make your own arrangements, which are very good. And that can really help to make those type of applications to be able to have an active role. So this is another way of entering into the UK, where you've got a child with someone. Sometimes people may go on holiday, get pregnant, come back, have a child who's British, father is left in Zim or Zambia or Malawi or Egypt or wherever. And this is not something that is unique. It happens quite often. So the other parent is able to then join on the basis of the child, not the relationship. And then the other issue is where a man goes on holiday, has a baby, the child is born, given birth, but they're British because of their father. They are also then able, if that child, I think the difficulty with that visa is the child has to be living in the UK for the parent to apply. And I, as yet, have not found a way around that, because that's one of the rules, that the child has to be living here. So the other way around, it's a bit more difficult, unless the child comes to live with their dad and then mom applies later. But yeah, that's another way as well. Brilliant. So the question that I have in my WhatsApp is not to do with this topic, but it's to do with carer visas. And somebody has said, I've got someone who applied for a visitor's visa and was declined due to using fake bank statements. The same person now wants to apply for a carer's visa, and they've got a sponsor and all the documents are legit. What are the chances of getting a carer's visa? So when you use fake documents and you get a refusal letter, usually it comes with a mandatory ban of 10 years, where they say that you've been banned, and every visa application that you make will be automatically refused. It will be automatically refused. So for a period of time, usually 10 years. So it does mean that it doesn't mean that as a visitor, it can be any application that you're making. if you face a ban on the basis of producing fake documents, then it will impact your visa application as a carer. What I would say is look at the initial refusal for the visitor's visa and see what it says. See what it says, what was the impact of the fake bank statements, and get advice before you make the application, in order to just go through the refusal letter, because we haven't seen the refusal letter and what it says on there. But generally, that's the principle. So generally speaking, not specific advice, that is the situation. So when you've shot yourself in the foot by using fake documents, it comes back to haunt you because of the mandatory reasons for refusal. So what happens is, it's like your application has been flagged up. When you make an application, they don't even look at the merits, they just go on to the mandatory. So it's mandatory, it's by force that they have to refuse it because of using fake documents, dishonesty, things like that. So yeah, so that's a good question. Thank you for asking that. And it's something that does affect a lot of people, because people use mudosho and fake things, but they do then come back on other applications. That's great. That's wonderful. I think my time is up on here. For those who are watching on replay, thank you for listening. For those who've joined in live, thank you so much for listening. I was answering a question about a visa for a parent with a British child who lives in Zambia, and just quickly going through what the rules are, what the requirements are, and how to make that application. If you need specific advice or any support in relation to immigration or family issues, family law or family related issues, do contact us. Our website is in the tracker at the bottom. It's www.tulia.org.uk, or you can even send an email to us at info@tulia, and we're able to assist you there. Please visit our website for upcoming events and see some of the services that we offer. And yeah, we're here to serve and be able to provide more information for you. Right, so I'm not sure what that comment was, but anyway, that is well. Thank you so much. Have a good day. Be blessed.